So I'm going to talk in this video a little bit about music because I honestly think music is one of the greatest gifts to the human experience. Like the feeling you can get from listening to music, what that does to your soul, is just incredible. It's one of the most beautiful things. And I'm just saying this because I feel like, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but I feel like people aren't listening to music anymore. Like there's a big shift on places like Spotify and Apple Music to be much more focused on like the spoken word, like podcasts or audiobooks. And I've certainly seen this in myself, like podcasts have just taken over what used to be like where I listen to music. And some of that's just the kind of, sign of the times, like podcasts are really great for content and, whatever. But I think it's a bit concerning that people aren't listening to music as much. And I personally find it very frustrating myself. I think the part of the problem is people aren't enjoying music very much. People don't get as much pleasure out of it as they may be used to. And I've certainly noticed this, that recently, like, I struggled to get in the sort of mood to listen to music in the way that when I was like 18, 19, like when I was at school, I was just always listening to music, and it was so transformative. Like I just loved it, and it doesn't have the same effect on me anymore. And I just feel like it's not as simple as just like I prefer listening to podcasts. Like I feel like there's something else going on here. And it's frustrating because I remember I used to just literally, I would just sit for hours in the evening, like on a school night. I just sit in our living room, just playing guitar until like the early hours of the morning, and like I'd show off to people about it. I'd be like, yeah, just playing until midnight, and it just felt so much fun. And anyway, I think I've sort of worked out what's going on here, and listen to this and maybe you let me know if you think this applies to you as well. So, about 6 months ago, I really wanted to source out like get into sort of journaling and sort of journaling like old past experiences in sort of like romantic relationships with an aim to sort of reliving them, kind of, and it sounds very sort of corny, but kind of healing from them, And so it's very simple. What I'd do is I would just go to a nearby park with my phone, and I'd just record a video, like I was going to upload it to the channel. I'll just record a video where I was talking about this relationship I was in, exactly like what I'm doing now, basically. In fact, I actually think I put an extract of one of the journaling sessions I did on this channel. I think it's called Playing Hard to Get, or about Playing Hard to Get, or something like that. And this is basically what I was doing. I was living in near Hyde Park at the time. And yeah, I just went for these long walks around Hyde Park, just journaling just telling the story of these previous romantic relationships that I wanted to sort of talk about. And the aim was I would kind of bring up lots of emotion and sort of, learn some lessons from it. But to be honest, I got to the end of this practice. I did it quite a lot, but it got to a point with this practice where I just thought it just felt like it wasn't really doing anything. It felt a bit pointless. And I think there was one day where I did it, I think quite late in the evening. And I got back home and I went to bed, and I was still kind of thinking about what I had been journaling. Like it was still on my mind a bit. And anyway, besides the point, but I just really felt like I couldn't sleep. Like And I was at the time like I was really serious about my sleep. I was like, I was going to bed at like 9 o'clock, and then getting up at 6. So I was just giving myself like loads of time to sleep basically. And but anyway, I was in bed and I just wasn't really tired. And like I said, I was thinking about this stuff, and I ended up getting up, and I just thought like, you know what? If I can't go to sleep, there's no point me being in bed. Like it's not my problem, if I can't sleep. So anyway, I just got up and I was just sort of at a bit of a loose end as to what to do, and there was this big sort of window in the flat I was staying in, and I just sort of opened it up and I looked over at there was kind of a bunch of flats on the other side, and I just kind of looked, and obviously it was still quite early in the evening, so you could see people were sort of, the lights were still on, people were sort of coming home from work or watching TV, or getting ready for bed, and it was quite a sort of profound sight. And anyway, I opened up my laptop and I just got a real desire to just listen to rock music, which is so weird. And this desire, like I hadn't wanted to listen to rock music for ages. Like I remember when I first got into music, I was massively into rock music. Like that was really my kind of personality trait. I remember we used to go on these holidays as a family, and like back in the day, obviously pre-Bluetooth era, we'd have these little CDs of like, I think they're called like air guitar CDs. And anyway, they were just like a compilation album of just classic rock music. And anyway, I was just sitting on this chair, like looking out at the view, and I just decided to like listen to some of these songs from this old album that I listened to like as a kid in the car when we were going away on holiday. And like I didn't find the actual album, but I just queued a bunch of the songs that I remember of it on Spotify. And it was so funny because, like I say, this kind of period of my life, like I wasn't listening to a lot of music. And I wasn't really getting the kick out of music that I used to. But just suddenly, this music that I heard was just the most compelling sound like I could imagine. Like it just suddenly, all this music just felt so raw and so energetic, and it just filled my body with oxygen and this feeling of life. And just every song went past and I wanted another song. And I just kept coming up with new kind of ideas for like a next song that I could play. And I just thought I'd do this for like half an hour maybe, and then maybe get back to bed or something. But yeah, I just kept coming up with another song and another song. And I ended up moving to the sofa, and we had quite bad Wi-Fi where I was staying. But I managed. So I didn't quite always get Wi-Fi from the sofa, but so it was a bit difficult logistically. But today, like the Wi-Fi was fine. So I just lay down on the sofa, and I turned the sort of light, like the screen thing on my laptop, to just night light, so it was like really red. And yeah, I just sat there and just watched all these music videos. I went onto YouTube and I just was watching all these music videos of songs that I knew all the songs, but I just hadn't listened to them for ages. And suddenly, just this gushing aura of like beautiful music just came back. I just really connected with the music again for some reason. And I was doing this for like the entire night. Like I thought I'd do it for like an hour maybe, I was starting to think, okay, maybe an hour, a couple of hours. But it got to like 4 o'clock in the morning and I was still listening to music. And then about that point, I thought, all right, yeah, let's go to bed now. And then I hit the pillow, and for the first time in a long while, because like I said, I had this kind of slightly slightly dictatorial sleep schedule where I was going to bed like, I think way too early. I just my head hit the pillow and I fell straight asleep, and that is really beautiful feeling. And, I, for the first time in a while, like my mind felt at peace, like, have you ever hit the pillow and just felt like you haven't really got done what you wanted to do that day? And it's not even something practical or, it's not even it's something quite spiritual. It's like there's some kind of feeling, some kind of expression of your deepest urge, your deepest core feeling that you just wasn't acknowledged today, wasn't expressed in you. Anyway, I hit the pillow that night and I felt like some core part of me that was always itching to get out had suddenly been released. And I fell into a beautiful sleep. And I, like I said, went to bed at about 4. And I remember waking up at 10 and just feeling pretty good, and it left a strange impression on me. And there was about a few days after that where I was, music just had this old impact on me that it used to. And slowly it sort of started to fade off. And it was back to the same old thing, where it's not like I didn't listen to music, but it didn't quite give me that. There was something that I wasn't accessing again, which I found really weird. And I was still journaling and stuff like that, but for some reason it sort of went again. And I didn't know what to make of it, but I just couldn't rule out that it was something to do with the journaling that had made me have this experience with music again. And the reason I'm making this video is because I've had the exact same experience basically today. So I had a big journaling session yesterday. And it was the first proper big journaling session that I've done for a while. And it's funny because I was in Oxford at the time, I was just doing all this journaling, and then I had to drive back home that day. So I went back into my room, and I was on my computer quickly, just sort of mucking about, and I listened to a few old, because I used to write and record a lot of music. I just listened to a few old sort of recordings that I hadn't listened to in ages, and I was like, wow, this music is amazing, not to gas myself up. And then, anyway, I got in the car, went back home to Colchester, where I am now. And it's funny, this sort of, I was listening to music on the way back, and again, I felt back in touch with the music that I was listening to. Like, it gave me that same kind of feeling. And then today, I picked up the guitar and played it for like half an hour, which I haven't done in ages. And it's just weird. Like, all these things, I can't rule out that it's something to do with journaling that is making me, that there's some kind of common denominator. And it is funny, I was driving back home again, yesterday. Here's another strange thing. And I suddenly got a real urge to socialise. I really wanted to be social all of a sudden. The past year I've been really unsociable. I've really just focused on just sort of self-improvement stuff. But I just got this real urge to just socialise. And I was meant to be going to, some of my friends were going to the pub that evening, we hadn't organised something in ages, but I just suddenly got this real desire to go. I was just super excited about it. And it's very strange. I can't quite explain what's going on. But my point is, and this is very early in the process, but I think there's something about journaling and the way it brings feelings to the surface that makes you love music. And I think if you're watching this video and you're wondering why you've had the same experience as me, where like you don't really like music anymore, it might be that just like you feel a bit. It's just as simple as being like emotionally repressed. You just, because that's basically what music is. It's like emotional feeling, and yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. You just bottled up emotion for so long that you sort of feel numb to music. And, I don't really know what advice to recommend, but, and it doesn't always happen when I journal, but sometimes, like, I have noticed this, that just doing a really good journaling session can just suddenly just make you love music again. And it's just really made me rethink everything. It's like, you've got to pay real heedance to your emotions. Like, I think this Andrew Tate era of masculinity, I mean, I think it's behind us. Like, I think it's the manosphere, whatever you want to call it. It's going to really change in the next few years. Like, I think one way that I think it's going to change is just going to be a lot more focus on just this kind of whole holistic idea of masculinity. And David Davis talks about this in The Way of the Superior Man. It's like being a real man is like just being fully present with everything that's happening with you. You're fully accepting your entire internal state. I just feel like a lot of the sort of Andrew Tate, like, I'm not knocking him because obviously he's done, like, I agree with a lot of what he said, but I think one of his disadvantages is he does have this aura of kind of almost cowardice for his internal states. I just feel like there are a few bad breakups in there somewhere that he hasn't allowed himself to feel. His relationship with his father, I think there are a lot of difficult emotions involved in there that he hasn't allowed up to the surface and sort of explores. And by doing that, allowing himself to become a greater version of himself. Because that's the thing, like, this sounds weird, but when you really feel your emotions, you just feel like twice the man. It's funny, you feel like one of those kind of you feel like a sort of old school knight or something, like there's all the sort of normal self-improvement stuff, like that, going to the gym and making money, and that makes you feel like a kind of Andrew Tate figure. But then there's kind of facing these darker emotions within you via journaling, and that makes you feel like a sort of loving, a loving, chivalrous knight. Like, that's the only way I can explain it. Like, when you just embrace sort of negative emotions truly, rather than just repressing it, and you just feel like such love for humanity and just life itself. It's funny, when I was journaling about these experiences I had, these sort of romantic relationships I had in the past, like, even though I was journaling like negative emotions, every time I did this, I would leave this journaling session with just a feeling of like gratitude that I had this experience, however negative, with this person. That it felt like such a wonderful thing to me that I'd had this opportunity to, have a relationship with this, amazing woman. And, not saying that girl was perfect, not saying things worked out, but and it wasn't saying I necessarily liked, there weren't negative emotions as well, but it was so nice just to feel positively about these girls all of a sudden. And yeah, really interesting stuff. So yeah, what was like an actionable step? I think just try journaling. Like, really just tell one thing that's good to do, I think, that Jordan Peterson talks a lot about, is just tell the story of your life, you know. And if you have like skeletons in the closet that you want to like bring them out to the surface willingly, and try and find a way of sort of expressing it creatively. You know, writing is quite an obvious way, or speaking it, or to be honest, even like putting it into music. You know, that's one thing that I found is that when I really loved music, I was like writing a lot. I was sort of expressing a lot of romantic angst in music. A lot of sexual energy basically into music. Like that was the creative force. And when I wrote lots of music, and when I really loved it. And again, David Data talks about this. He says that the great mistake that men make, and this is why like senior retention is such a big thing, is like most men they can't hold on to romantic sort of feminine energy inside them. They just have to release it in like an orgasm. But the real thing to do is to turn that creative energy, that painful energy, into something creative. I think it's the exact same thing here. You know, journal, or just write, or just speak it. You know, but I think looking into these darker feelings through journaling can be so valuable, and it might just be the answer to why music didn't hit like it used to. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you're taking something away from this. I know it's been a bit of a weird episode, but there's definitely something to it. And if you do enjoy this kind of content, I am doing a lot of one-on-one coaching at the moment. So if you are interested in what I talked about in this video, maybe you're interested in journaling and stuff like that, just send me a message, or just click the link below and book like a free session, where we can just talk about, maybe you want to improve your journaling. I can help you with that, set some goals, just show you what's worked for me with journaling, and just book a free call with me, and we can go from there. But otherwise, guys, thanks for watching.